As you can see, this is a huge problem in the U.S., but more specifically, it is also a big issue here in the state of California. California, which is the highest agricultural producer in the U.S., still struggles with food insecurity. With over 5 million Californians that are food insecure, this topic is one that is very prevalent to all of us. In this section of our group panel, I'll explain to you how bad this issue is in California and who this affects. After listening to my part, you'll be aware of the resources available and hopefully want to make a change. California has the highest amount of people living below the poverty line out of every state. This translates to food insecurity, as according to the SLO Food Bank, 1 in 7 households in California struggle with hunger. In order to emphasize how much of an issue this is here in California, let me throw some statistics at you. According to Let's Get Healthy, a government task force made up of healthcare professionals, there are 5.4 million Californians that are food insecure. On top of this, 40% of low-income adults in California don't have enough to afford food. In addition, 1 in 4 children in California are food insecure. This shows that there's a clear problem in California that affects a lot of different people. Another unfortunate side of this issue is that certain groups of people are at higher risk. Wasselman, Rowe, and Gee found in their study that out of all California residents, immigrants were more likely to be food insecure. Another group that is disproportionately shown to be food insecure is the homeless folk. It was found that homeless people are 3 times more likely to be food insecure than the average low-income adult. In the study by Elizabeth Bowen, published in the American Journal of Public Health, they found that there's a very high focus on finding homeless like housing or shelters rather than food, which gets put on the back burner. Because of how large the statewide problem is, there are quite a few resources available. Daniel mentioned a few of the national resources earlier, including WIC, SNAP, and Child Nutrition. Many Californians take advantage of these national programs. In fact, according to the U.S. Department of Agriculture, Californians average the highest monthly participation in the SNAP program. There are a lot of local organizations throughout California. There are also some bigger statewide programs that help too. One of these is called Farm to Fork. This is a program designed to help Californians access California-grown food. As I mentioned earlier, California is the highest agricultural producer in the U.S. And this program aims to distribute this California-grown food back to the locals. Another very prominent program is called CalFresh, which will be touched on later in the speech. Other ways to get involved with food organizations includes volunteering for food banks and other similar programs. You can use the California Association of Food Banks to find local food banks near you and learn how you can help. Outside of these programs, another great way to get involved and make a change is just by voting. Politicians are also aware of the food problems that we face, and some of them want to make a difference too. An example of this is Senate Bill 137. This legislation, which recently passed through the Senate Committee of Human Services, would remove a lot of the barriers that are currently keeping thousands of students from being part of the CalFresh food program. Keeping track of these legislations can be difficult. However, it's made simple by the nonprofit organization CFPA. Short for California Food Policy Advocates, CFPA helps you easily track all of the current food security legislations. It provides you a template of a letter of support, which you can then email to all senators that are involved. In sum, we saw how big of an issue food insecurity is, not just in America, but in California specifically. 1 in 7 households in California struggle with food insecurity, specific groups such as the homeless and immigrants face even higher levels. Luckily, there are helpful resources made available at the national, state, and local levels. California is not the only state that struggles with this. In fact, many states in the U.S. are currently working on their own solutions to lower food insecurity. According to the Feeding America organization, 1 in 8 people in Nevada and 1 in 9 people in Washington struggle with food insecurity. By getting involved or just by sharing information, like the resources available, you can help make a difference and lower food insecurity here in California.